But at one point, Jesus is asking Peter. Peter always seemed to get the worst of it, right? It's like, I love that because Peter's a certain kind of personality. He was the one who was always stepping out, right? So he had a kind of a raw confidence. And some people look at those people that step out all the time. You know, I'm considered a person who steps out. My wife loves to say this to me, and I know it's true. She said, you're always confident, but you're not always right. Yeah, it's true. It's true. I am confident, but I'm not so fragile in my confidence that I cannot be rebuked. See, oftentimes we assign to other people the same fragility that we have. And so we assume that, they must really, 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 really think they're right if they're stepping out like that. Boy, this would be a shock for them to be wrong. No, actually, some of the people that step forward the most aggressively are the easiest to rebuff, are the easiest to correct. That's one of the reasons they step out. They're not afraid of being wrong. And that's a good thing. Peter was a guy who was not afraid of being wrong. So he got most of the rebukes. Right? But he was made an example of for all of us. Thank God for Peter today. Right? Thank God that Peter stepped out on the boat. Thank God that Peter was the one who said, you are the Christ, the Son of the living God. Thank God that Peter was the one that stepped out and said, Jesus, no, you're not going to the cross. Which afforded that great opportunity for us to see that, within us can be the gate of heaven and the gate of hell. Right? He turns around, he says to Peter, get thee behind me, Satan. Well, that's not very nice. Thank God for Peter's. Yeah. Oh, man, we could talk about this. Sometimes, certain people's lives play out in public, not because they're better, but because they're an example, and God needs examples. Sometimes we think, the most anointed, visible leader in the body of Christ is clearly the best. Not necessarily. They're just being used as an example. And so we get shocked when there's something wrong with them, and we think, what a hypocrite. No, God needs to demonstrate certain truths that are applicable to you by people that are visible. Not because they're better or worse, just because he needs to use them in that way. So let's hold back our dire judgments. Let's hold back our hostility and our what's another word? It's not coming to me. Where's the synonym when you need one? But he says to Peter, Peter, do you love me? He's like, I don't like where this is going. Do you love me more than all of these? Feels like a loaded question, Lord. Yes, I love you. Peter, do you love me? But I love that because Jesus, like a skillful surgeon, is dipping deeply into his life. Peter, do you love me? And I love the response at the end, right? And there's so many nuances in this interaction. But at the end, that he says, Lord, you know. Right? I love that. That's the sound of surrender. That's the sound of, I'm not going to overrepresent myself. I'm not going to claim purity here in this moment because, I've been down this road with you before, Lord. You know. So let's start there today. Lord, you know. You know what things stand between me and my inheritance. You know what stands between me and more peace. You know what stands between me and a better marriage, me and healing, me and resurrection life, me and victory, me and financial blessing, me and knowing more of you. You know. And more than anything, we want to say, Lord, I invite you to put your finger on those things right now, right today.